Hey everybody, I'm Bob Bakert, and we're being joined by Henry Acker, with Henry Acker. Jazz guitar today. How you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I, I'm doing okay. I can't complain too much. It's been a long time coming trying to put this together.
I know, right?
I should send you a picture of my son. You remind me of him.
Yeah,
You're both shaving your head and got the beard and the whole nine yards. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, he's a bit older than you.
yeah.
Um, so. There's so much to talk about. So, where to begin? I mean, you started young. Your dad, obviously, Victor, went to Berkeley, as
Y-
did your uncle. And I know you played with them when you were, what, about 9 years old?
Yeah,
And I remember Frank Vignola calling me up and said, "Man, you got to check out Henry Acker. He's like 10 years old or whatever." How old were you when you went and sat in with Frank the first time?
I was about 8 years old.
Yeah, all right. So he said, "You got to check out this kid." So he called me and told me that. And I said to myself, "Oh, Frank, 8 years old. I mean, come on. Barely out of diapers, you know."
Yeah,
And then I heard you play and I went, "Oh, Frank, yeah, you're right about that. It was pretty astounding, actually." So are you 20 now?
I am. Yes.
Yeah, 2000. You were born in 2004. I literally am probably wearing socks older than you. which is which is which
It
you know,
happens.
at some point in time, it's not going to be Henry Acker the Wonder Kid. It's
Yeah,
going to be Henry Acker, the guitar player, because you can only be the kid. Now that you're 20,
yeah. Not so much of a kid anymore.
yeah, you got maybe one more year of kind of playing on that kid thing, and then you know what? There ain't no Easter Bunny, buddy. Hate to break it to you, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So now you're going to be transitioning from Wunderkid, to a pro. I mean, not that you're not a pro right now, but your whole world will change because you won't be the kid anymore. And I wasn't even going to bring that up to you, but since we're on the subject, here we are. So that has dawned on you, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you sure are. I'll say that. That's for sure. I've been watching a lot of your playing and listening to a lot of your playing. And your dad was kind enough. I don't know if he even told you, but he wrote a really nice article about you that we're going to
Yeah.
include with this interview. Um, so tell me what's going on with you today. Is it is jazz guitar today? What's happening with you today? What are you doing?
So I've been teaching. I've been having in-person lessons with students that I've met out. Uh, so this past summer, back in June, I did this wonderful camp called Django in June. I'll actually be doing it next year as well. And I've been teaching a lot. I've been trying to gig and been playing with my trio, the Henry Acker trio, with this phenomenal piano player named Dan Pappas and
Okay.
this phenomenal bass player Greg Toro. And I'm really excited about that project because we plan on recording soon.
Well, let me ask you a question about that. Is it the gypsy style with the piano, or are you playing more with the ES 175? I mean, tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about that.
it's more, yeah. So this group is less focused on the gypsy jazz stuff, but it's more straight ahead jazz. But it still has some hints of Django Reinhardt's music in it too.
Well, I was actually surprised at how much Django you're playing, and then of course with Frank when you were at the Blue Note, you're playing an ES 175, and I think maybe even a Johnny Smith one gig. Was
Yeah,
was that yours? Or was that one of Frank's?
that had to have been someone else's guitar. I'm trying to think who, but it wasn't mine. The ES 175 is though my dad's, but
But I mean, just while we're here, what year is that 175? Is that one like your dad's had forever?
yeah. So that ES 175 is from 1988. It's got the mahogany back and sides.
Okay.
It's a really great instrument. It can do a lot of super versatile.
I like the mahogany 175s. I mean, I like them both, but I really there's a different kind of warmth with the mahogany body for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not poo-pooing the maple because the maple's great too. I mean, they're all,
Absolutely.
but there is a definite if you're used to playing an acoustic instrument, which you are,
Yeah,
the one set that mahogany 175 is going to be a lot more at home with for you because it's going to be
absolutely.
a little softer in its delivery, and you can punch out on. I get it. It sounds great. I was
Thanks, man.
listening to you play. It sounds great. So I had a couple things here that I wrote down. Um, well, first of all, who the heck is Grant Flick? I mean, I don't know anything about violin players, but good God, you guys playing in that back room of that house,
Yeah.
tearing it. I mean, tearing it up. You guys were so comfortable. And is that tell me a little bit about how that all came about, or tell people what that was and how it came about and what's happening there.
Yeah, so in that particular the video of us playing together, that came about because he was playing at a venue called Club Passim in Cambridge the day before with his own project. It's Grant Flick and Hannah O'Brien, and they absolutely killed the set. And because I've known Grant since I was 12, believe it or not, Frank Vignola uh, introduced us to each other,
Right.
and yeah, I was just like, "Hey, Grant, I'd love to have you down." And my dad happened to record us playing, and that's how that came about.
It sounded phenomenal. I mean, it was really phenomenal. I mean, it was like that was he was so relaxed, you were so relaxed, and it just kicked. I mean, it just it was real. Did you feel that when you were doing it?
Absolutely, playing with him is incredible, and it's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite players to play with.
Well, I can see why. So people that don't know Grant, I didn't know him. I just caught that because I don't follow violinists, but check that out for sure. So, Frank has obviously been a huge proponent for you. I mean, there's no question about that. Uh, and in your playing, I think influence as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, because Frank was my mentor for a while.
Yeah.
He would show me on True Fire all the chord melodies and all these, diminished runs and scales. And it's you know, his playing is awesome, so it's hard not to take from that.
Well, one of the things that I admire most about Frank's playing is he thinks musically and not like a guitar player.
Absolutely.
He's always playing music. He's not playing the guitar. There are we all know there are visual players. You can watch them play and know that they're visually oriented towards the instrument. They're not really playing it with their ear. And I don't mean to, I'm not trying to be judgmental with anybody. But the thing about Frank is just playing music. I mean, he's just playing.
Absolutely.
Wes Montgomery was like that very much, and obviously so was Django. That you just heard music, you didn't see the guitar. A lot of guitar players, and for those of you out there, you will play stuff that we know looks difficult to other guitar players, but
Yeah.
musically maybe not so much. I mean, if you just take a bar chord, just kind of thing, and try to do that on piano, it'll
Yeah.
it'll tie you up in knots.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
but so we don't do that kind of thing, which a piano player is going to go, uh,
Yeah.
because it doesn't look cool, But and Pat Metheny's another guy that just plays music. He doesn't care what it is. And the great Joe Pass, of course, said, "Hey, if it's a D chord, first position cowboy D chord, and that's the right chord, that's the one to use."
Yeah,
Um,
man.
so you're gigging? Are you gigging a lot? Your dad was telling me that for people who don't know that. Henry's dad is Victor Acker, who is also a Berkeley grad and a fine player in his own right. And he was and played all over New England for decades. Um, so he was telling me you're doing a lot of gigging. You're staying really busy.
Yeah. I've got gigs booked with the group I play with, the Rhythm Future Quartet. We got stuff coming up next month in January. We're playing Django's Celebration in California,
Oh,
which will be really nice. And yeah, I have some gigs with that group, and I have some gigs with my own trio coming up. And what I'm really excited for is in April, uh, the reunited of the Legacy band that I'm not sure if you're familiar with. It was me, Sam Farthing, Grant Flick, and Chris Jenkins, and we're going to be reunited in April back in Baltimore, and it's nice because when we first played, I was 12 years old, but when we come back, we'll be adults, and it'll just be a whole new awesome thing that I'm really looking forward to.
I was playing Little League baseball when I was 12, you know. I mean, it's kind of a different thing. So how is that to be? I mean, how is that to have been so focused on you knew exactly what you wanted to do and what you wanted to be from a very, very early age. And so many people that are, in their 60s and 70s still want to know what what they want to do with their life. It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
walk us through that experience. I mean, the focus that you have on what your future is.
Yeah, so I mean, I from a young age, my dad showed me all the videos of Django Reinhardt and all the people that came after him and the generation afterwards with Borelli Legren, Stockelo Rosenberg, and just ever since I was a young kid, I was really clicked. I got like the Django bug, as they call it,
Yeah.
and ever since then, I was just like, I want to become, the best version of myself, musically as possible. And, it was fun for me to practice. So that's what I think really helped. Um, but yeah, I just plan on playing music and teaching music and doing this as long as I can.
Well, for decades and decades and decades, we all hope and pray. Um, so let's talk about the difference in your instruments a little bit.
Yeah, so I actually brought one of my guitars with me.
Oh, wow.
This one is a Dan Hunt guitar, which is a luthier out in Worcester, Mass. And
That's a little too nice to take to the gig, isn't it? My
yeah, and I love it. It's
Do me a favor.
a nice tone.
Move the camera down just a little bit so we can really see not quite that much because we want to see the back up. That perfect. Perfect. Good.
So that's what
Wow.
this one sounds like.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
That is really gorgeous.
thanks,
So,
man.
what were you just playing?
Yeah, it was just improvisation, just whatever came to my head.
You pick up the guitar, and what's the first thing you usually play in the morning?
Uh, it depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes major if I'm feeling happy, minor
Yeah,
if I'm feeling sad. But yeah, let me play you Nuage.
please. Oh, that's beautiful. Hey, do me a big favor. Because we're listening, you can make the camera go back up. Yeah. Do me a big favor. Down a little bit. Down a little bit. That perfect. That's good. So this is Zoom, and Zoom kills the fidelity of the guitar. I mean, it kills it. But we're watching you, and we can hear it, and we know what's there. Would you take that and record that kind of like you just did it and send it to us as a file?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can.
we're gonna show this, of course, in the video, but I'd like people to actually hear what you sound like and that guitar sounds like because Zoom's pretty rough. We are working on a new technology. My buddy Steve Freeman's got something that he wants me to check out. He says that it's the fidelity's full and all that's great. So we're hoping that we get that problem solved. But man, that's gorgeous. That's your arrangement, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's just taking different ideas and moving them around. Yeah.
Man, it's beautiful playing, a beautiful guitar. I love I love what you're doing. You know what? One of the things I admire about your playing is you play with all four fingers.
Yeah. I
You'd be
try.
su- you'd be surprised. A lot of guys don't. And I notice it because I play with all four fingers. I mean, and I'm not. I guess I am saying I think that playing four fingered is better than playing three fingered. I'm just sorry. You can hit more intervals, you can do a lot more stuff. But
Yeah.
the amount of people that play with three fingers, and of course Django played with two,
Yeah. Well, he didn't
so
really have much of a choice, but
he didn't have a choice. But you do play with all four fingers, which which informs your choices. You know
yeah,
that makes
opens
it
up
different.
more ideas.
Yeah, you can do a lot more with that. I mean, Django's style was you kind of had, I mean, he had kind of had to play that way in a way. I mean, he got the most out of it. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, listen, Django Reinhardt, one of the most influential players in the world ever, if not the most. But he was limited. He had to do what he had to do, and he did amazing things with it. Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about the difference between your electric playing, your 175, if you will, and your Django style guitars. Um, do you think differently, or how do you address those instruments? You pick up your 175 instead of this instrument here. Dan Hunt is this builder's name?
Yeah, Dan Hunt built this guitar, and it's a great guitar for what it is and really beautiful.
Make sure that we have his URL so people know
Yeah.
who he is for sure. So how do you approach the guitars differently? Is there any magic to that, or any different thought process, or just what feels in your hands, or how do you go about it?
Yeah, so when I'm playing on the ES 175 more straight ahead, I find myself playing a lot softer and not needing to, really really push the instrument because it's electrified. But with
Yeah,
the gypsy jazz guitars, I find myself kind of pushing myself, but that's also how you get good tone
right,
with these kind of guitars. So yeah, my technique changes a little bit, but not I still generally think in the same kind of terms of oh I'd play this phrase just like how I played on the gypsy guitar,
right. Um,
be a little bit softer.
what's your action like on your guitars?
On the gypsy guitars, they're medium low. On some of them, kind of high, but
Yeah.
for my arch top, I like to keep it low. It's just easier for me to get around.
Amen, brother. A lot, I mean, I see some of these guys that go, like BB King said, he played with eights.
Yeah,
He said, man, I just don't want to work that hard. And I thought, how does he get that tone out of eights? I'll never
yeah.
understand that. That's some, magic, but I get it.
And,
So
and with the gypsy guitars, I use this very thick pick that's kind of looks like a Picasso painting. But it this the guy who made this pick is his name is Kilinonis, and he specializes in making gypsy jazz picks. And I don't use this kind of thick of a pick on the arch top simply because I don't need to drive the instrument like
yeah,
the same way that I would with the gypsy guitars. I use like a Dunlop 1.14 millimeter, a pretty
that's
pretty
pretty
thin
thick.
pick.
Well, that's what like these. If can you see that? That's that's a wagon. That's
Oh,
this one.
nice.
This one's 1 point something or other. And then I use the thinner one sometimes on the flat top if I'm gonna play
Yeah,
that kind of
the
thing.
big city
And
picks.
then yeah, I've got those two. I got stupid amounts of money invested in picks. It's crazy. I mean, I got a thing of them, and they're all those high end. You know the drill. Uh,
Yeah,
I hate to admit this, but a friend of mine had some repurposed tortoise, and
yeah,
I have a couple of those, and I will not play them. I own them. I will not play them because I don't want people to say to me, hey, what do you got there? And I
yeah,
say I have a tortoise show. I don't want to create a market for them.
yeah. I hear you.
I just don't want to do that. But and then I found a pick the other day. I mean that I'm when I'm sitting at home, I got a telly in my hands a lot
Yeah.
with nines. Okay, I hate to say that, but I do. And I've got jazz boxes. I've got all kinds of things to play. And I found a pick that I really really like, but the guy doesn't make them anymore.
Oh man.
I got one, and it's that kind of material that disintegrates.
Yeah,
So at some point in time, I'm gonna be playing something about the size of half of my pinky, and it's gonna be, but it's got just that perfect grab, like
yeah.
rosin on a bow. You know what I'm talking about? It goes great. But yeah, you gotta play a little lighter with the electric. Now you don't amplify your guitars. You just use them
Um,
plain.
Depending on the situation, archtop I obviously
Yeah,
would.
obviously you do.
With this one, there's a piezo pickup that the
There's a
Luther
pickup,
built that goes right into the bridge, and it sounds pretty acoustic despite being a pickup.
electrified. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
uh,
I noticed when I watch a lot of your videos, there's a mic in front of your guitar a lot.
yeah. I like the acoustic sound the best, but I mean, if there's a situation where I have to go through an amp, I'll use a pickup.
Absolutely. I'm not going to say this right. The German player Jasko Stefan
Yosho Stefan, yeah,
Gosho. Okay, I actually looked up the pronunciation and I went on the thing. How do you pronounce this kind of thing? And of course, there's a
yeah,
woman there with an accent that's like, and I go, if I say that, people are going to think I'm trying to be something I'm not.
yeah.
Yosho, that's how he says it. Yosho.
I think so. Yeah, Yosho.
Well, you would know. You're sitting there playing with them all the time. What's up with that? I mean, you guys seem to play a lot together.
Yeah, the last time I saw him, I was teaching at Frank Vignola's Big Jersey guitar camp, which
Mhm.
was a huge privilege and really nice to be back there. And yeah, so that Donna Lee video that we recorded in
Phenomenal.
the hotel room, and yeah, it just kind of came about. We were all like, at the camp, and the camp is in a hotel, and I think I was at like lunch during
Yeah.
that, and then we were talking, and then he was asked me if I wanted to do a video with him, and I was like, yeah, that would be great. And I was kind of taken away because he was really asking me to do
Yeah.
a video with him. But yeah, it worked out, and it was super cool, and he's just a monster player. I mean,
Well, the two of you are playing great. I mean, come on, that's the thing we talked about earlier. You're not good for your age. You're good, period.
oh,
And
thanks.
yeah, I mean, it's not that, and you've been good for a long time. And the fact that you are young is one of those things. I think in some circles it works against you, or did,
Yeah,
because people,
can.
how seriously can we take a 14-year-old as a musician? Well, you better take him pretty damn seriously because he's playing some real shit.
Yeah,
This is not, it's not, oh, he's good, but in the old day, oh, he's good for, he's good, but she's good for a girl, that kind of thing, or
yeah,
he's good for 14 or 15. No, that's kind of like maybe when you were 8 or 9, people could say that, wow, he's great for 8 or 9. But I mean, you've been legitimate for a long, long time. And I think that's something that people need to understand. So let's talk about your playing style a little bit. When you
yeah,
when you go to when you're or let's talk let's first of all talk about your teaching.
yeah,
What do you when someone says I want to study with you or I want to take a lesson with you or I'm going to the guitar camp? What do you typically see? What do you observe with with the students? That what are some of the things that like all students seem to have the same kind of issues and problems and things that they should be working on? Is there anything that you can outline for people?
As far as like consistent problems, I can't really answer that, but with every student, my goal is to get them to where they want to go. If they just want to play for their own enjoyment, then I can get them there. If they want to play professionally, I can also get them there. Uh,
Right,
but yeah, it's basically just, me showing them where they have trouble with in a particular part of a song, or we'll dive into a song together. And uh, yeah, so my teaching is just kind of geared towards the students' personal goals.
yeah, what they're looking for. I guess what I was looking for, and you've given me an answer, and I accept it. What I was going to say is, is it time? Is it hand? Is it understanding harmonic concept? Is it not understand? I mean, what do they typically look? I mean, is there a typical? And this is
Yeah, so for typically it's technique, right hand technique, and how to, you know, be as efficient with it as possible. I like to show them exercises and patterns and stuff that they can use that to improve their play.
right. It's funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's people don't understand that the guitar is the right hand is like, that the right hand is what separates the men from the boys.
Absolutely.
I say that, and you don't want to hear anybody say that, but it's true. Because left hand, that's where all, it's all the sexy stuff happens if you don't know
Yeah,
what's going on. But what I find with all the players out there, and I watch a lot of players because I interviewed now hundreds of people, and I do my homework. I watch, I listen, all that kind of thing. What I find that really separates the players is um, their time and their dynamics,
absolutely.
and all of that is in the right hand. And because I mean, guys like Frank, who obviously have both. I mean, you're gonna make good choices on your notes. You got to make good choices on your notes, but a lot of people do that really well
Yeah,
because you can listen. You can listen to the way Henry did it or something like that, and then copy it. But getting that right hand and getting the time and phrasing and dynamics is all right hand, and I don't think people understand that they need to spend more time on that. Um, and it seems to be the first skill to kind of diminish if you don't play.
absolutely.
You're fumbling between, you're doing cross picking, you're fumbling between the strings, and what is the old line? If I don't practice for a day, I know it. If I don't practice for 3 days, but the musicians know if I don't practice for a week, everybody knows it.
Yeah,
That's the kind of the right hand kind of thing. So if you go, let's talk about your soloing approach. When you for example, let's just go with nuage. Let's stay with that for a minute. When you think about soloing on that, what is your first thought? I mean, I know you played that song thousands of times, but what are you obviously you're thinking melody. What's supposed we're just going to throw that away. So all of a sudden you played the melody, you've been through that, you're in your second chorus, and you want to play something interesting to yourself. Do you have a process there? Not a process, but take us through what that feels like. It's like, I guess probably I'm answering my own question. You're probably going, well, what did I just play? Now let's do something contrary to that. But please go ahead and answer the question.
yeah. So how I approach soloing is I try to start with a strong beginning, and the stuff in the middle is kind of like, doesn't really matter. But for me, it's having a strong beginning and trying to get through the song and then have a strong ending, because I feel like if you screw up the beginning, then it's like you're trying to recover the whole time halfway through the song. So I try to start with a strong beginning. Whatever's in the middle is in the middle, and
Uh,
then try to finish strong.
So what kinds of things to you what when you say a strong beginning, is there anything that jumps out at you? I mean, are you looking for, uh, what is that how could you verbalize that? What is a strong beginning?
Well, we'll take this line for
Let's
example.
take it.
Something like that, which
Yeah.
is just
A good melodic statement.
yeah,
Yeah.
something musically, and
Yeah.
uh, and like having a nice strong beginning and making it musically. Uh, I don't know. I'm not the best at explaining what I do. I'm
Well,
better
that's
at
perfect.
showing.
That's why I want you. You can show it, or I don't want you to come out like a textbook. I want you to talk like Henry.
Yeah, and yeah. So
Just you make a strong melodic statement to get started, and then you work your way through thoughts in the middle, and then you want to come up with something that closes it, that lets people know, hey, I've done it. Boom,
exactly.
bang the hell out of it. I got it. Um, who are some of the players out there that you admire, want to play with, have influenced you? I know Frank is an obvious one, but who are some of the players that you really, you say, I've never played with that guy, I would love to play with that guy. I would, or I've played with that guy, man, I want to do that some more, or that kind of thing. Can you give us some names of some people that and I know you don't want to leave anybody out, but is there some names out there that kind of like these are my guys?
Yeah, so a really good player from France, his name is Rocky Grisset.
Okay.
That would be a dream for me to play with him because I'm not sure if you're familiar with his playing or not, but he's one of the top guys in the gypsy jazz world. Rocky Grisset,
I'm going to write that down because we need to do more with Gypsy. GR, how do you spell it?
Rocky Grisset, Grasset.
Says ET. I'm going to check them out. We need to do more with Gypsy. We started to, and I tried to get a couple of guys interested in it, and I need to definitely do more with Gypsy.
He's
So that's
he's
why one of the reasons you're here. But go ahead.
he's one of them, and another player that I'd really like to play with is this guy Olivier Kiktef, who plays in this band called Les Doigts de l'Homme, which is a French band. And
You're going to have to send that to me in a text message because I can't spell
all right, yeah,
that.
I will. He's an amazing composer and player and arranger, and he's a big hero and inspiration of mine.
That's fantastic. Anybody else that you can think of?
Yeah, there's another player, Ponchi Weiss, who's this guy from France who I've met but never played before with, and he plays phenomenally on the gypsy jazz stuff too.
I love it. What do we got here? What's going on here? Yeah. Oh, I see. I see. I'm looking at something here. I want to make sure that. Oh, okay. All right. Got it. So what do you want to tell people? We're coming kind of close to the end of the time, and I feel like we're just kind of getting started to getting to know you. But here's the beauty of this. We can do this again.
Yeah,
We can do it again. In fact, I tell everybody that look, you got something going on, you got a gig or a tour or a show or a new album project or something like that, man. Give us you got my number, you got all of our kind. Let me know. We'll get you on, or we'll give you let people know what you're doing and where you are and what's happening, and we'll follow your career as much as we possibly can and help promote you as much as we possibly can. So, is there something that you would like to add to what we talked about today?
um, just to keep swing alive, I guess.
Or
That's all I have to say.
let me just say this: is there something that you go, nobody ever asked me about my blah blah blah. I'll give you an example of that. I was John Jorgensen. I did an interview with John. I know you know who he is, and
Yeah.
I asked him that question. He said, it's funny you say that because most people say no, I'm good. He said, no one has ever asked me about my steel playing, pedal steel playing. He said, I've spent years working on my pedal steel playing and all that. No one's ever asked me about it. I said, John, tell us about your pedal steel playing.
Wow.
And he
I
went,
had no idea he played pedal steel, but
yeah, well, see, there you go. No one ever asked about your pedal steel. So is there anything that, that you go, yeah, why didn't anybody ever ask me about this or that or the other thing?
I can't. I honestly can't
You're,
think of anything.
we've done a pretty good job then. That's great. So let's talk about your equipment just so that people know what guitar is the one, what's your number one gypsy guitar?
So yeah, I have it right here. This guitar right here is
That's the one I've seen it
my
make.
favorite gypsy guitar out of all of them. This guitar is from Japan. It's the brand is called Stringphonic.
Okay.
Uh, Shout out to Tommy Davey from Django Guitars, who actually orchestrated this guitar and me being able to get it from him. And quick story is he brought this guitar out to a festival in 2018 called Django Fest Northwest that happens in uh, Whidbey Island off of Seattle. And pretty much he sets up a booth with all of his picks that he makes and CDs and guitars that he has for sale. And this happened to be one of them. And because I was at that festival, I was curious and was kind of in the market, but not super serious at the time
Yeah.
about looking for another gypsy guitar. And then I picked this one up. And about after I was done with the festival and I picked this up and I was like, man, I this guitar, like I need to buy this because like it really stuck with me. And yeah, so pretty much about after I did the festival, about a week later, I shot him an IM, and I got the guitar, and it's my favorite guitar that I have.
And tell me again the name of the guitar, the builder?
This is a Stringphonic guitar.
Spring Fun.
They're based out of Japan, and
Is that rosewood size?
this is Brazilian rosewood,
Holy
spruce
shit.
top, walnut neck,
Oh my God.
and
Brazilian rosewood.
yeah, and it sounds.
No, I've heard it a lot. I'm familiar. I'm going to tell you my guitar story like that. I was in Grun's guitar and I'm playing and I'm upstairs where all the expensive stuff is that I can't afford. But
Yeah,
I'm playing the guitars and and I'm having fun and I see a guitar on the wall and I pick it down. It's an old Martin. And it's nothing, I mean, to look at it was like nothing special and I've started playing it and I fell in love with it.
yeah,
I've never played that well. I've never bonded with an instrument that's like this. And the more I played it, the more I liked it. The more I played it, the more I liked it. It's like getting to know, a new woman, a new girl.
yeah,
And I'm really into this thing. I said, if this thing is, because I knew it was going to be expensive. I said, if this thing is $12,000, I'll sell my left arm and I'll figure out a way to play with both hands.
yeah,
And then I started thinking, oh man, I'll bet it's more than that. If this thing's, I'm still playing it, having fun, and there's some people around listening. If this thing's $15,000, you know what? I got that guitar, this guitar, this guitar, and this guitar, and my kids, I might put one of them up for sale. And so I'm going, okay, I gotta look. And then I see the price tag, which
yeah.
which is right hanging off of the one of the tuning pegs. And I looked up at it and I go, 10,000, 100,000, $100,000. I thought I said 10,000. I said,
Oh man,
$100,000. You've never seen a man break up with a guitar so fast in your whole life. I mean, I
yeah,
put that thing down. I put it down. I said, "Oh, I can't afford you, babe. I love you, but I can't afford you." It's just
yeah,
one of those kind of things. So I can appreciate, finding an instrument like that and saying, "Oh," but I'm glad that you were able to actually, get that one.
yeah,
Albums? You got any album projects or recording projects? You had mentioned one. What are we looking for there?
yeah. So this January, I plan on recording with Dan Pappas and Greg Toro. Just an album. There'll be some standards, maybe some original material from
Mhm.
from us. It's still in the works, but I want to try and record this January.
Well, keep us posted on that. Well, listen, Henry, thank you, man. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
we'll please text me some of the stuff, some of the, like your URLs of anything that you want people to know about your how to get a hold of you for lessons and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, you're a great player.
Thank you.
Been a great player for a long, long time. It's fun to listen to you play. Your dad's incredible. I love your dad.
Yeah,
Tell him I said hello.
I
Uh,
will.
he's been great. I've talked with him on the phone a lot and I've corresponded with him a lot, but I didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah.
He does not look like what I expected him to look like. But it's fine. It's just different. It was just I expected him to be just a slightly, based on the sound of his voice. But he's a handsome man at any rate, so we appreciate that. Bob
Yeah.
Bakert with Henry Acker for Jazz Guitar Today. If you like this content, please subscribe. Tell all your friends. Henry, tell all your friends. Like, share, follow, and do all those things you do on Facebook and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Please subscribe to the magazine. It's free, and this is a labor of love, I promise you. So, Henry, Godspeed, buddy.
Thank you very
Thank you
much,
very
Bob.
much.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
time
man.
today. It was great meeting you.
Great meeting you as well. Bye bye now.
Bye bye.